Starter deck 18, Guardian Vortex. Wow. Let's check this out. The very first time. Okay, pretty, slightly bigger box again, or I guess like a little bit smaller than the advanced deck set box, but this is what we have. What else do we have here? Oh, okay, of course, the usual paper playmat, and I guess like beginner's guide kind of thing. So we got Pteromon and Zephagamon here. And then, of course, here are some rules. But mainly, we're looking at this today, which is what we're mostly interested in. Okay. Starting with Fluffymon, which is the main egg. Letting you suspend stuff with DP, equal or less. Biomon, that has a fortitude. Okay. Then we got Falcomon. When attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Pretty good. Then we got Pteromon, which is a searcher, letting you grab a card with Avian or Bird in any of its traits, and one card with Vortex Warriors or Liberator trait among them to your hand and return the rest to the bottom of your deck. Pretty good, so you got two of those. Mushomon, mainly for inheritable piercing, but also when effect suspends this Digimon. One of your Digimon with Avian or Bird in any of its traits, Vortex Warriors as well, gets extra 3 rounds of DP until the end of your opponent's turn. Okay. Pretty good. And then we got Kiwimon, which has a rule trait, which is also treated as a vegetation. That's pretty interesting. On play or on deletion, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Pretty good combos and synergies as a level 4. It being 3000 DP is pretty important because we're going to get to see a card later on where we have a Kokatorimon, blocker, piercing as well, 2 cost to Evo. Pretty good. Useful inheritables that we need right here. Okay, so we got a card that's kind of stuck. Oh, here we are. We have the Gaomon, which is the SR, which has a security effect, letting you play basically Liberator cards from your hand or trash as long as 4 costs or less. Vortex, which is the brand new key mechanic for this particular archetype and for this specific deck, which basically lets you attack your opponent's Digimon at the end of the turn, even if it was played. So meaning it kind of gives it like a pseudo rush, essentially. Pseudo is like rush and blitz almost, but it has to attack an opponent's Digimon, and also just keep in mind it has to attack an opponent's suspended Digimon as well in order to sort of get that. But otherwise, your turn, you get extra 2000 DP, and I believe we get 2 copies of these right here. Yep, which is our main SR card. We got Pteromon, blocker on deletion. Rule trait, we also has a vegetation. Okay, so we got Grand Gaomon here. With Grand Gaomon, it has both on play and when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's. Not your opponents. You can suspend either Digimon, your own or your opponent. Now, if you suspended your own, this is when you can actually play a 3000 DP Avian or Bird from your hand for free, which is good. That synergizes with Kiwimon, which we saw earlier, and with its inheritable letting you unsuspend is fantastic always. So we got 2 copies of this. We got Parrotmon on play, suspending down your opponent's Digimon, and then one of their Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. Piercing with the inheritable as well. Okay, now they're kind of stuck together, but now we're moving into, of course, Zephagamon, which is the main boss card of the deck. 3 costs to Digivolve, which is great. 11,000 DP. Vortex, which we explained earlier. When Digivolving, you suspend 1 Digimon. It can be yours or your opponent's, and you get to unsuspend 1 Digimon. Of course, it can be yours or your opponent's as well. Pretty versatile with that. And then alternates once a turn when any Digimon unsuspends. For the turn, this Digimon isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon and gets 3000 DP, basically for that particular turn. So this even happens in the unsuspend phase, which is really cool. Being able to beef up all the way to 14k is really nice. So yeah, definitely the main boss. So we got Egomon as the other sort of like secondary boss Digimon, fortitude, on play when Digivolving, basically bouncing one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to hand. Okay. And then we have Shoto, which is the main memory setter of the deck, which is main thing is that synergize with Vortex with its secondary effect. So when any of your Digimon attacks your opponent's Digimon, you suspend this guy and you can switch it into another Digimon that's a valid target or player, meaning that you can change your Vortex into attacking a player, which is kind of neat. And there are some really neat combos to definitely have to showcase with this card as well. And we've got this Anemoy Embrace, or Anemoy? Can't really pronounce this, but It's your main removal option card of the deck, you know, suspending something down and so on. And then we got Green Memory Boost. I kind of thought this was hollow initially, but guess not. But would have been nice if it was. Imagine it being textured as well. Oh, okay, I'm a little surprised here this time. But yeah, really good reprint. Really nice looking alt art, which is the cover art of the deck we see right here. And we got 2 of those, I believe. So with 2 of those, yeah, really important searcher for the deck. And then now we got new training cards with this kind of foiling. Really nice thick card stock here. I can feel it in my hands. Really nice holographic as well. Of course, offense training for red, mental training for blue. Although this doesn't really look like a blue card off like immediately just by looking at the artwork. It's like both yellow and green, and then you only see the blue here, and even the holographicness of it kind of makes it look rainbow color-ish. Physical training, really nice arts of these, which is really cool. Agility training, defense training, wisdom training, and that's it with some of our rule cards kind of thing, like explaining some like basic like keywords and rules, and that basically wraps up the opening here very quickly. Wow, but yeah, let's show you guys the budget build. All right, let's go ahead and explain the budget deck build, especially for you guys who are trying to get into the card game for the very first time. The first thing I want to know about the budget build is that you want to maximize 4 copies of every archetype cards within the deck. Therefore, there's 4 copies of Pteromon, Gaomon, Grangaomon, and Zephagamon, and it's very important to do that because you want to always ensure that you're consistent with your whole archetype and its game plan. You want to make sure that you're maximizing the output and efficiency in order to execute the combos and the playstyle of the deck that is intended to. My personal recommendation is always to get 2 copies and combining them together for convenience in order to make this build. With Digi-8 cards, we can only just play the 4 copies of Fluffymon. As we talk about level 3s for this particular deck, it is always ideal to keep anywhere between 10 to 13 to ensure that you're sort of climbing up. As you go up the levels, you start to decrease the number of cards that you have as you go and so on, just because level 3s are your main starting point. The other main focus I want to play in this deck is actually Muchomon to provide piercing as a fantastic inherent to deal damage, but also increasing your DP buffs while you sort of synergize with your combos. And whereas there's Falcomon and Biomon, which I decided to go with 2 of each just for special situations that I need their effects. When it comes to level 4s, you want to play anywhere between 9 to 11 Digimon, and I decided to maximize all the way to 11 for this particular build, with my secondary addition is being Kokotarimon. The main idea is to give your inheritable stack piercing, which I mentioned earlier, just like Muchomon, but also has blocker, which is a very good defensive strategy to help you stop your opponent's attacks. And as for Kiwimons, it helps you suspend down your opponent's Digimon whenever it's played or deleted, which has really good synergy, especially when it comes to Grangaomon. And this is where we talk about our level 5s. You generally want to play anywhere between 7 to 9 Digimon cards with 4 copies of being the Grangale, and I decided to play 3 Deramons and 2 Parrotmons to support it to help us bridge into level 6s. For level 6s, you can play anywhere between 4 to 8 Digimon. In this particular build, I decided to settle with 7, with 4 being the main Zephagamon, which is the main boss Digimon card of the deck, and alongside with 3 Egomons to support it. Having tamers is always crucial, where Shoto Kazuma is the main tamer and the only tamer that you can be playing in the deck. Being able to set your memory at 3 is really great, and with its secondary effect allowing you to sort of switch your attack targets with Vortex. And for that reason, I play 3 copies of Shotos just to make sure that I can see it often enough, but also not too much at the same time. And this is where we're going to round up with the option cards. You definitely want to maximize on Green Memory Boost and Agility Training, because these are such important cards to help you fetch and find your pieces to continue to build up to your combo line so that you can get into Zephagamon as soon as possible. Aside from that, there are also option cards such as Anamora Embrace, which you definitely want to include so that it provides you removal against your opponent's Digimon, aside from just utilizing your own Digimon to beat them down. So this is the overall build, guys. Feel free to switch around the ratios and play differently depending on your own style. And for those who are interested in the full power upgraded build alongside with the EX7 cards, definitely stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, as it'll be coming real soon. Alright, let's talk about how to play the Guardian Vortex deck when it comes to your opening hand with your mulligans. It is a stack building based deck, which is very simple after all, so you want to be able to see your level 3s and your level 4s as you climb up into your 5s, and of course your Zephagamon and your 6s being the secondary as Egomon. Now, as you're digivolving up, if you don't find these pieces, ideally, again, with the opening hand, this is why the green memory boost and the agility trainings are really important for the deck, because it helps you find and fetch those pieces. So what you'll be looking at the ideal opening hand is your level 3s and a 4, and maybe one of these, so then you can fetch and find, and as you digivolve and cycle through and draw from your deck, you'll find the rest that you need to climb up to get into Zephagamon as soon as possible. Now, one of the key moments is to realize that pteromon, you might think that you want to digivolve and stay within the archetype as you digivolve up. Now, funny enough, it's actually not exactly the case. Although the stack is nice as you're digivolving up into that entire line, you actually want to have cards like Muchomon or Kokotarimon to give yourself piercing, because the whole idea is you're going to suspend down a lot of your opponent's Digimon and attack over it. Meanwhile, you're attacking over their Digimon, you want to be able to get even more value off by taking even more damage against their security, and this is why piercing is really crucial. Therefore, funny enough, I actually like to prefer to play this pteromon on play instead, because it actually acts as a searcher for the deck to help you find additional pieces. So this is what your stack would ideally look like as you're digivolving. Of course, remember, Gaomon and pteromon, they give you DP buffs to enhance your Zephagamon, making it even stronger than before. So being able to attack over things is also really, really important. So plan accordingly on how you want to build as you digivolve up. But this is what I kind of like to prefer and go with. So when I come out with Gaomon, I can essentially digivolve into Grangaomon. With Grangaomon, I get to basically suspend down any Digimon, either myself or opponents. Depending on the situation, if I want to attack the opponent's Digimon, then I suspend down theirs. But if not, there's actually an extending combo, because with Grangaomon, you can suspend itself, and then you can go ahead and play out Kiwimon, because it is a 3000 DP Digimon, and when it's on play, you can then use it to suspend down your opponent's Digimon. Even if that doesn't work, then this is when you want to go into Zephagamon for 3 costs. Now with Zephagamon, you also get to suspend one Digimon, whether if it's your own or your opponent's. But ideally, for the unsuspending, you want to unsuspend itself. So by unsuspending itself, you actually gain the second part of the effect of all turns once per turn. When any Digimon unsuspends, you gain extra 3000 DP and immunity against your opponent's Digimon effects as well, playing around them. So by this point, by having this set up, you want to have your opponent's Digimon on the board, so then you can proceed to actually use Vortex. Even if the memory gauge passes to your opponent's side, it gives you the capability to attack just before your turn ends into a Digimon specifically. So if you attack into your opponent's Digimon, you get to utilize Grangaomon's effect to unsuspend, and when you attack over it, you basically get to pierce against them and do damage even further at the same time, giving you the utmost value. And the nice thing is, this is why you want to have the Shoto, because sometimes if you don't want to attack into your opponent's Digimon and you want to just go for the straight security, go for damage, or even if they have 0 security, you can just go straight and attack them with Shoto instead and redirect the attack into your opponent to finish games off, which is really, really magnificent and really cool. Sometimes you don't always get to see your Zephagamon, which is why we play Egomon as the secondary boss. Sometimes your opponent might have a Digimon on the board that's suspended that is way too big even for your Zephagamon to attack over or even potentially remove it. So this is whereby after suspending down your opponent's Digimon, you can go into Egomon utilizing its when Digivolving effect to return one of their suspended Digimon back to the hand, so that it's another way to deal with their board, which is really, really nice. Aside from that, the other thing to note with Gaomon, this is a card that you really want to see in security at times, and by playing 4 copies, it does happen often enough. So when your opponent checks into it, you get to activate security effect. Ideally, you get to play anything that's 4 cost Liberator or less from your hand. So you get to play out Pteromon for additional searching, which is fantastic. You can even actually play out Shoto, because it's a 4 cost, giving you access to a memory setter at the beginning for free. It's just absolute value. So this is basically how you want to play Zephagamon and the whole archetype. You want to continue to attack as much as possible into their Digimon and suspend. Also keep note that when you unsuspend during your unsuspend phase, it also enables Zephagamon's effect to gain the immunity and extra 3000 DP for the turn. Keep note at your opponent's Digimon. If they have anything that was suspended to begin with, then as soon as they unsuspend, Zephagamon also gets it immediately for the whole turn, which is really, really good and a very, very nice versatile card for only 3 Digivolution cost. But that's basically how you want to play this deck. You want to continue attacking into your opponent's Digimon, pierce Otherwise, just go straight for their security with lots of damage, high DP, and remove all of it at the same time. And basically, that's how you win with Guardian Vortex. So be sure to share this video with a friend who's getting into the Digimon card game. Also, make sure to check out the AVAULT store for the latest Star Shooter playmat drop right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.